Hello, it's Plush by Amy, and this tutorial will guide you through the very first steps of crochet. We will be learning 4 things today. 1, the different types of projects that you can create. 2, what materials you will need and where to find them. 3, different crochet stitches and beginning terms. 4, 2 ways to start a project. Step 1 is deciding what you want to crochet. Crochet is literally an endless paradise of opportunities to create anything you want. Make a whole variety of things. You can make educational and sensory toys. You can make practical items like kitchen and cleaning supplies, storage bins. You can be a fashion designer. Usually you'll have an idea of what you want to make, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to be practicing hand placement and beginner stitches, so you don't really need to decide on what you want to make right now. Step 2, collect your materials. You can buy all of your materials at Michael's or Joann's, or you can look online. So there's a few materials that all projects will need. One is a crochet hook. There are many different sizes and shapes and brands of crochet hooks. My personal favorite is these Susan Bates crochet hooks. They have a flattened piece right here. I don't know if you can see. Kind of like curved and flattened right there, and I like it because you can put your thumb and your pointer finger right on that flattened part. And I also like this piece right here. Some crochet hooks don't have this black piece right here, and it's a little bit harder to crochet in my opinion. So which hook do you choose? It kind of depends on what yarn you're using. Typically bigger hooks will go with bigger yarns and smaller hooks will go with smaller yarns, though there are no rules in crochet. You can mix and match anything you want. No one's there to tell you that it's wrong. Something you will always need is yarn. So what type of yarn are you going to use? It really depends on personal preference. I like the size 6 chunkier yarn. Here's some right here. It's fuzzier. I just think it's better. Some people prefer to use like acrylic or cotton yarn size 4. It's really just up to personal preference. Something else you will always need is a stitch marker. This is essential to your process in keeping track of your crochet project. It's just this little small plastic clip that marks your beginning stitch of every row, so you know exactly how many stitches and where you are in your row. Sometimes I'll use a piece of string or something to thread through the first stitch as a stitch marker if I don't have any, but these are like 50 cents a bag on AliExpress. They're super cheap. You will also need a needle. I use one that's a little bit bigger than a normal sewing needle because I use the chunky yarn and it's a little harder to thread through. You'll need scissors to cut your yarn, and you'll need fluff for your project if you are making a plushie or a pillow or something like that. So there are 2 ways to start your project. There's a chain and a magic ring. Typically, chains are used for more flat items like blankets or bags, and magic rings are usually more for plushies, maybe like a circle hat. So chain and magic ring are 2 crochet terms that you will need to learn. First, I will start teaching you the chain because it's a bit easier than the ring. So the first step in making a chain is creating a slip knot. You can make a slip knot multiple different ways, but I'm specifically teaching you this method because it will help with learning the magic ring later on. With my right hand, I'm going to pinch the end of the yarn between my pointer and my thumb. Notice how I'm leaving a few inches left right here. This is called the yarn tail, and this right here is called your working yarn. Your working yarn is still connected to your skein because you're still working with it. So go ahead and pinch and take your working yarn and wrap it around the top of your pointer finger and your middle finger and around the bottom of your pointer and your middle fingers. So let's try that again. We'll pinch, wrap around the top, wrap around the bottom. So once your yarn looks like this, you can go ahead and make an X right under where you were pinching between your thumb and your pointer finger. And then you can put your thumb down again, and then you're going to wrap above your pointer and middle finger. Now you can flip your hand over, and your ring and your pinky fingers should still be free, so you can go ahead and grab the working yarn with these fingers. I know this is a really awkward hand position, but you should try to get used to it as much as possible. I recommend trying this whole thing a couple times again, so we can start from the beginning. We will pinch, wrap around the top, wrap around the bottom. We will make an X, pinch the X, and continue to wrap around the top. Flip your hand and grab. So now that we have our yarn looking like this, we have one string on the bottom, an X right here, and 2 strings on the top. Now with my right hand, I'm going to pick up my crochet hook, place my thumb on this rounded, flattened part, and my pointer finger on the other side of the rounded, flattened part. I'm going to point my open face side down, and I'm going to go under this first loop. Like that. So thumb, pointer, the open side of the crochet hook is down, and we're going to go under the first loop. You're going to grab this second piece of string right here with your open hook. Grab and pull through. Now you have this triangle looking thing, and you can carefully let go with your hands. So it should kind of look like this. So now all you're going to do is tug on the working and the tail at the same time to close, like that. Then you're going to pull on just the working yarn to make the loop smaller. And that is a slip knot. So let's try again. I'm going to go under the first loop and catch the second loop with my hook and bring it through. Here's your triangle. Let go carefully and pull on both of them. Now just pull on the working yarn to make your loop smaller. Alright, now we will go over how to hold the yarn correctly while chaining. We have the working yarn on the left right here, and we have the yarn tail on the right here. With my left pointer finger, I'm going to go in front of the working yarn and behind the yarn tail. So now I'm going to take my ring and my pinky finger and grab the working yarn. I'm going to pinch the yarn tail in between my middle finger and my thumb, like that. Then I can raise my pointer finger and use this section of yarn to crochet with. Let's try that again. Put my pointer finger in front of the working yarn and behind the yarn tail. I'm going to grab the working yarn with my ring and my pinky fingers. I'm going to pinch the yarn tail in between my middle and my thumb, and I'm going to raise this up so that I have control of the tension right here. So this hand placement feels a little awkward, but it is the easiest way and quickest to learn, and it allows you to control your tension with your pointer finger along with your ring and your pinky finger. So this gives you 2 different points of control. So once you feel comfortable with holding your yarn like this, we're going to yarn over. And this is another crochet term. You're going to bring your working yarn around the top of your hook like that and back under your hook. So let's try that again. Use your working yarn and wrap it around the top of your hook and back under. Now you should have 2 loops on your hook. One more time, wrap around and under. Before you're going to grab loop 1 and pull it through loop 2. To pull it through, it's easiest if your crochet hook is facing down like this, because if you face it upwards, it usually gets caught on this top piece right here. So I like to face it down, and you can also tip your crochet hook up a little bit. And that is 1 chain. Let's try that again. So you got the hand placement down. You're going to yarn over which is wrapping your working yarn up around the back and down around the front. Then you're going to grab loop 1 and pull it through loop 2. And I'll tip it upwards a little bit, like that. So that motion of yarning over and pulling through a loop is called a chain. So just keep practicing that hand movement until you're comfortable with it. And notice how each chain is being created by bringing the working yarn through this loop right here. So watch, there is a left side of the loop and the right side of the loop, and there is the hole of the loop. As we make a chain, the left and the right side of the loop is now separated by the working yarn. Now let's learn a single crochet. We're going to ignore this chain that I just made, and we're going to skip into the next chain. So go ahead and insert your hook into the middle of the loop, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, make sure you point that hook downwards, and bring the working yarn through both of those loops. This piece right here is a single crochet. It's also important to note that I'm pinching the chain in between my middle and my thumb for stability. So let's try it again. Insert into the next chain, which is right here. Insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Yarn over, and pull through both loops. Now you have 1, 2 single crochet. So basically, you will continue to practice down the line like this until you feel comfortable with placing your single crochets in a chain. Be patient with this. You will be frustrated, you will be annoyed, you will be thinking, why can I not do this? It's not going to come to you immediately. It's all just practice, practice, practice. If you need to, take a moment to yourself, drop your project, and come back to it later. There's no rush on learning. Learning is the hardest part. I cannot stress enough how hand placement can just transform your crochet skill. Really practice those hand placements. When you feel comfortable with your stitches, I will meet you in the next part of this video. Now that you've gotten used to kind of the hand placement and the movements of a single crochet, we can move on to a magic ring. So for the magic ring, you will start by wrapping the yarn around your fingers the same way you did as a slip knot. So we're going to pinch, wrap, and make that X, and we're going to hold the ring and the pinky fingers. So now we're going to start the same way with the open side of the crochet hook pointed downwards. We're going to go under the first loop and over the second, grab the second loop and make that triangle. Now this is the tricky part. You're going to point the very pointy, you're going to face the pointy part, the top part of your crochet hook down towards you and up to the sky. You should now have this crossed loop on your hook. So let's try that again. You got your triangle. You're going to take the pointy top part of your crochet hook, point downwards, towards you, and up towards the sky. And with the working yarn that you're holding with your ring and your pinky finger, you're going to yarn over and pull through this loop. Now you want to make your triangle a little bit smaller for this to be easier for you. So I'm just going to redo it. There you go, it should be about that size. So you're going to yarn over, but your fingers are kind of busy right now, so you're going to do it with your hook. You're just going to go under the yarn and bring it back up. See, it creates the same loop as if you were to yarn over. It's the same thing. And you're going to pull through. Now you can relax, breathe. You can take out your fingers and make sure to untwist the yarn tail from the ring. Now this is your magic ring. Let's try that again. Alright, so here you have your triangle. You're going to yarn over by placing your hook under this working yarn and grabbing it and bringing it through the first loop. You can untwist your tail. So now I'm going to hold the magic ring the same way I was holding the chain. Instead of just the yarn tail, I'm going to pinch the ring and the yarn tail together. So see how this is the same hand placement as before? All you have is just an extra string. So now you're going to use these two strings to build your single crochet on. In my mind, they just need a place to stand, so this is what they're going to stand on top of. So you're going to do the same movement for a single crochet as you did in the chain. So treat this as if it was just a huge chain. You're going to insert your hook into the middle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, and pull through both loops. If you imagine this just as a very big chain with a huge opening, it's a lot easier. Go ahead, go on inside. So you're going to go inside, going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through both. Now you have 2 single crochets on your magic ring. Just go ahead and practice placing a bunch of single crochets into your magic ring. Most patterns you see, especially for plushies, will start with 6 single crochet in a magic ring. So when you see on a pattern 6 single crochet in a magic ring, you're going to place 6 of these in your ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, it really doesn't matter because we're just practicing right now how many stitches you have on your ring. But once you have the necessary amount, you're going to take the yarn tail, make sure it's untwisted from the ring. You're going to pinch lightly on that last single crochet that you made and pull on the yarn tail. This has closed your magic ring, makes it so that you can now crochet in continuous rounds. Sometimes when I'm pulling the ring closed, the ring can get stuck on the single crochets, so just make sure to untwist them. So just keep practicing placing single crochets into your magic ring and closing the magic ring by pulling on the yarn tail. When you're confident in your stitches, you can move on to an actual project. My next video will go through in detail how to read a pattern so you can create your project by yourself. Throughout this video, you have successfully learned how to create a slip knot, a chain, a magic ring, and a single crochet. Practice this as much as you can until you're happy with your outcome. As with everything, it gets easier the more you do it. Thank you for watching this video, and comment any questions or tutorial videos that you would like to see.